Thank you so much for having us as the Red Cross be part of this expo. We're really excited to be here, and we've been getting a lot of great feedback throughout the day, and I'm sure that your booths have been experiencing the same. So congratulations to all of us on this day. But then I also just want to go ahead and encourage you to go ahead, and if you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to raise your hand or to put them in the chat. I'll do my best to get to them and to moderate them. But I want this to be interactive so that I can give you as much information that I can. And so then we can go ahead and help each other. But without any further ado, here is our Be Red Cross Ready presentation, which is geared, and this one's specifically geared toward our older adults or those with functional needs. And so we'll give you a bunch of different tips on how to stay prepared for when these events happen. All right, and so the main thing is that it's up to us to be ready. If there is a wildfire or an earthquake or a hurricane or a tornado, whatever the event is, please, you're going to expect delays in help. There's going to be road closures, there's going to be communication power lines or cell towers might be down. There's going to be an influx of need. So it's up to us to be ready. And so we have to learn what to do before these events happen, to learn how to prepare for them, learn how to respond during them so that we know what to do. And then also know what to do after it so that we can recover quickly and start putting the pieces back together. But it's up to us to have that initiative. And by doing that, it helps us as a household stay safe, helps us adapt to all of those different challenges, and also helps us recover quickly. So I'm going to teach you some tips. And at Red Cross, we have three main preparedness principles. So the first one is get a kit, which will feature a lot of your needs and have all of your supplies, specifically any sort of medical needs, having all of your prescriptions together, having your documents together, but creating a kit for yourself and for your household. The second principle is making a plan. So getting everyone together and talking about it so that everyone knows what to do. And then the third principle is be informed. And so now I'm going to dive into all the little pieces of your kit. And so part of that is assessing. Before you have to go ahead and assess, okay, what are your needs if you happen to have an oxygen tank, do you have extra tanks available to you, or do you need those? If you have a respirator or something like that has a battery, do you have an extra battery? Do you know how to recharge it? So really getting a sense of what your medical, physical, cognitive needs are for whatever conditions you happen to have as a household, and then taking inventory of them and knowing what you have and having that conversation with your doctor. And having them all together, you can have your shelter in place kit. So if you need to stay home, if that's what the directives say, or having a portable kit. It can be a backpack, it can be a wheelchair, or it can be a little wheelie backpack suitcase. That's what I'm trying to say. But making sure you have a kit for either situation. Also making sure that you have enough of those supplies for you and your household, and that it's personalized for you and your conditions. But ultimately, for every single kit, these are items that we recommend having. And the first one is water. And so can anyone tell me how many gallons of water per person per day should you have in your kit? How much water should you have? And I open that up to the chat, or if anyone wants to raise their hand, but water is one of the most important things. It helps our body stay hydrated. It helps also us stay clean and for our hygiene as well. But at the Red Cross, we recommend having, and the answer is 1 gallon per person per day. So if you are making your own personal kit, and it's a kit for 3 days, so that would be 3 gallons of water for yourself. If you're sheltering in place for 2 weeks, think about that math. Also a first aid kit, because you never know if you're going to trip or fall or get a cut or anything like that. So having those bandages and ointments and stuff like that already in your kit. The next one is going to be a flashlight and batteries, because you don't know if the power is going to go out. So you want to have a flashlight. But not only that, you want to make sure that it has batteries so that it works. Oh, you can also go ahead and have those batteries in a separate little Ziploc to make sure that they're safe and they aren't live or active or anything like that and using up their charge. But having a flashlight and battery so that you can see is it's extra important. Also having a whistle, and a whistle is one that I didn't think about until doing these presentations, and it's a really great one because in the event of these emergencies and you need help, rather than screaming and calling out for help and like using a lot of your voice and wearing it out, having that whistle around your neck, there is a little keychain, but you can alert people to where you are if you need help. And that's one of the things that the first responders do once they enter a scene is like, fire department, call out. And having that whistle alerts them to where you are and that you need help. Next is going to be non-perishable food, because I don't know about you, but I really love apples. But having a fresh apple in my kit, it's going to expire, it's going to get moldy and gross. But I can go ahead and have dried fruit. I have dried apricots in my kit, and that's a more non-perishable version of that. You can also go ahead and have like canned soups as well. You can have canned vegetables, trying to stay somewhat healthy. But you also want to, for these cans, you want to have a can opener so that you can open them. Some of them are really great and they have this little tab on the top that you can kind of flip and then open. There's also like electronic can openers that does a lot of the work for you, especially because gripping things might be difficult. There's also like these little tuna packages and stuff like that. And this one, it expires in 2023, the year 2023. So that's a pretty long time. But you want it to be non-perishable foods for yourself and for your household. And next is going to be warm clothes and shoes, particularly closed-toed shoes. And because most home fires happen at night and it gets pretty chilly and cold at night. So having layers to help maintain your warmth is important. Also, you could have a blanket instead. I have this blanket with me. It's bright and shiny, or it's bright and vibrant, and it's also kind of a personal item to me because I've had it for a very long time as a kid, but it's also very, very snuggly and very, very warm. Next is going to be a radio. So that's how you're going to get information from the authorities, from road closures, all sorts of information. So having that and batteries for your radio it's important. Next item is going to be cash, and I want to emphasize small bills, because in the event of a power outage, ATMs might not be working or cash registers might not be working. And if you have a bunch of 20s in your kit and you go to the corner store that happens to be open, you get there for bottles, you just want a bottle of water is what you need, but you might end up paying $20 for that one bottle of water. But if you have 1s, 5s, maybe 10s, you can kind of barter and trade and say, I'll give you $2 for that bottle of water. So having those small bills is useful. Also having work gloves, similar to protect your hands, just like you want those closed toes to protect your feet from tripping or stepping on any glass. So having work gloves to also protect your hands as well. You also want a cell phone charger, because I don't know about you, but I pretty much have almost everything in my little phone of contacts, files, information. But having a cell phone charger, but also this is an external battery that you can pre-charge. Once you plug it in, you can get a few more hours, even a few days left of this thing. So having this already charged up is really a great asset. And then next is going to be a multi-tool. I recommend the brand Leatherman. And that's where you can go ahead and have pliers, a knife. There's a bunch of different ones on there. And they even have a can opener and a bottle opener in them too. So having those at your disposal is great. And then next is going to be about prescriptions, and then particularly glasses, because if these were to break, I would be pretty blind without them. So having an extra pair in my kit. I also have asthma, so I have my inhaler in my kit, but I also have the box from the pharmacy, and it has the prescription on it with the exact brand and the exact dosage on it. So in the event of I need them refilled, I can just hand this to the pharmacist and they will be able to refill it to the proper dosages. So having those, having a little salty treat, because I don't know about you, but I really love Reese's. And so having that kind of comfort item in my kit is really great for me. It's really soothing, and it's a little snack. Particularly for any diabetics, having, when you have to monitor your blood sugar. So having those. Also personal hygiene, because I don't know about you, but if I don't have deodorant, if I don't use deodorant every morning, I am not a happy person, and neither are the people around me. So having deodorant, toothpaste, toilet paper, those things that make you feel clean, having those. Also personal documents, which I can talk a little bit about more later, but those are copies of driver's license, passport, anything with an insurance policy or policy number, having all of those written down somewhere and in one place. Also toys and games, because the power might go out, but and you want to keep yourself entertained without using your phone and using up that battery. So having like a deck of cards or something like that to go ahead and keep yourself entertained while you wait for more information. Next is going to be pet supplies, because we've talked about food and water for yourself, but you want to have supplies for your pets too, because they're part of the family and they have needs as well. Okay, so before I move it forward, if there's anything on this list that you think would be really important to have, that you would want to have, I would love to go ahead and get your thoughts. So go ahead and put any suggestions in the chat to see if there's anything that we may have missed or that you think would be great to have for you. But moving forward, gathering documents. So it's those copies of those important documents. So Social Security card as well, any sort of medical insurance, renter's insurance, but having what's emphasized is a medical up-to-date list of your medications and your doctors. So having all of those written down, particularly morning time or nighttime medications. Also making sure that you have your contact list. So having all of those contacts, out of state contact is important. Also having a local contact as well, but having all those contacts written down on one place, and making copy of any sort of powers of attorney or directives and wills, having copies of those plans so that your wishes can be followed for you, and then making sure that you're safeguarding them. So you can have them in the cloud, or you can have them in a thumb drive or something like that, but just so that your documents are still safe as well, because this is private information. All right, now this is kind of types of kits, which I kind of mentioned a bit earlier. So there's a personal kit that we recommend having. It's that 3-day supply, and this is a little backpack that you can have. You can have one at work. I have one in my car because you never know when these events are going to happen. But also there's that family kit, which is our kind of shelter-in-place kit, which is that 2-week supply kit. And it kind of, you can hold it in these kind of tubs, but it has all the water, it has all the food, it has all of those kind of bulk items, but you want to think about those quantities for 2 weeks. And then another is the by the bed kit. So it's a kit that is tethered to the leg of the bed. Just in case there is an earthquake and the ground is shaking and things are slipping and sliding around. Since it's tethered to the bed, it won't do that, and you can just untie it quickly and just go grab and go. So those are all about kits. Again, if you have any questions or anything like that, please let me know. I'd love to get your feedback because this is all resources for you to go ahead and help you in your household. So But if there aren't any, I'm going to go ahead and go on to making a plan. So really building up your support network and communicating your plan to that network is important. So thinking about the likely disasters around you. So I'm originally from the East Coast, so we get a lot more hurricanes or flooding on the East Coast, but here in LA, we get more earthquakes and we get more wildfires. So thinking about your geography, also learning how to turn off your utilities in case of one of these events, and also making sure you have backup power sources, especially for any sort of respirators or for any sort of medications that need to be refrigerated, having a cooler or something like that. But think about those needs and how to make sure that they don't run out. Also, family members who travel, do they have a kit for themselves? Is there a contact method for them? Pets and service animals, incorporating them into your plan, and also property or renter's insurance. So for your plan, the first step is to talk about it. It's to get everyone in the household all together and to talk about, and this can also be if you live in an apartment building, getting everyone on your floor together so that everyone can get together and talk about your risks, your vulnerabilities. You can assign responsibilities, roles, so that everyone kind of knows what the needs are. And then step 2 is to actually write that plan down, is to go ahead and have it on your fridge or on the back of your front door, so you know exactly what you're going to do if you need to stay. You know exactly what you're going to do if you need to evacuate. You have those 2 routes, a primary and a secondary route to escape. You also have your meeting spots already pre-arranged. You also know where your local churches or schools are, which might be used as shelters. But you want to have all of that written down. And then step 3 is to practice it so that your plan can overcome our initial panic, and because that's one of our first instincts. But the more you practice it, the more you get it into your body. We hope that your plan becomes your instinct and overpowers the panic. And we want to make sure that you practice it twice a year. When we have daylight savings time and we're changing the clocks back or forward, that's a great time to practice it. It's a great time to go ahead and check your kit supplies, make sure nothing has expired or needs to be replenished. But it's also a great time to change the batteries of your smoke detectors. We call it a turn and test. So, but those are levels of your plan. And it's also utilizing your support network, your caregivers, your family, who are local and also who are out of state. But identifying those people who are going to be in your corner and that you can rely on for help, and making sure that they have all the assistance that they need so that they can help you. That's what they're there for. And having all their information collected and practicing the escape plan and the disaster plan with them, so that everyone knows what to do. Making sure that it's shared, alternate communication methods. So sometimes phone call, but sometimes a text, sometimes Facebook Messenger or Twitter or whatever. There are different methods of communication. So having all of those and writing them down on a piece of paper just in case your phone does run out of juice, and you have them written down so you don't have to play that memory game or that numbers game. And tips for caregivers is to help with planning. It's to understand what you are expected to do as the caregiver, particularly not only for your patient, but also for your superiors and your medical leadership as well. They're doctors. What do they need from you, and what does your client and your patient need from you? Making sure that you have first aid and CPR training, which Red Cross, we have a bunch of classes that we can connect you with. Learning how to provide emotional and behavior support for not only your patient, but for yourself, so that you can take a moment to go ahead and center yourself, because they're going to feed off of that energy. So finding ways to go ahead and give yourself that support, and that you can give that to them as well. But also having a current picture of the person you're caring for, so that when responders do come to the scene, you can give that to them and they know that this is who they're not only looking for, but that you are associated with them and that you are their caregiver. So they have that link as well. All right, and so that's about getting a kit. Let me know if you have any questions, please let me know. And if there's anything of the plan that you think should add, please, you're more than welcome. But next is also going to be ways of staying informed so that you can be able to act fast during an emergency, stay safe, and know how to recover. And first is going to be at various different radio stations to get all of those directives and that information about weather, announcements. But we recommend we have 1070 AM and 640 AM. And Red Cross shelters will broadcast on 1070 AM, but the reason why they're AM is because those are the broad range, those are the national cell towers and radio signals, versus the FM ones, which are the local ones, which are most likely to be overwhelmed or incapacitated or broken in the event of these emergencies. So you want those AM stations. Also, there's a program called Reverse 911, where instead of you contacting 911, 911 will contact you. You just register for it on the websites on the screen, and they will go ahead and get you on that list of that notification. And then also Red Cross, we have our Safe and Well program, which is where that's that support network that we've been talking about building, that contact list. You input that list into Safe and Well, and in the app, by pressing I am safe, it then notifies everyone on your contact list that you are safe and well. So it kind of is a one-stop shop, and it's really great for that. All right. So during an earthquake, so if one was to happen right now, we say to drop, cover, and hold on. So you want to drop to the floor, because by moving and going straight to the door or anything like that, you might trip or fall. So you want to drop and make yourself as small of a target as possible, and you want to cover under something as much as you can, and protect your head and your neck as well. You want to find something that's kind of like a turtle shell, that's something hard that can go ahead and protect you. And you also want to hold on to that surface to go ahead and take a look, because it might be shaking. So drop, cover, hold on, and stay in that position until the shaking stops. Also look around your room to see where would be a safety spot. Where would be that spot that you would look to? Like right now, I would go under my dining room table. But sometimes you might not have a table, and you might have to use an interior wall that doesn't have any photos or anything like that on, or bookcases near it. And so it's a blank interior wall, and keeping your spine against the back of it. And that can be your safety spot. But having that conversation and having those designated for each room is important to have. For those who are in our wheelchairs or our walkers, you want to lock your wheels as best as you can, because you want to stay as safe and as stationary as possible. And then again, you want to cover. So you want to cover and protect your head and your spine as best as you can. And again, stay in that position until the shaking stops. For those of you who are in bed when these things happen, you want to stay in the bed. Take a pillow or something like that and cover your head. And we say stay in the bed because you don't know if there are any hazards surrounding the bed. During the event, glass might have been broken. So by going out and stepping, you might step on that glass, or you might roll onto it, and a bookcase might fall and you might roll onto that. So stay in the bed. It's going to be your best position, and protect your head. If you have any bookcases or anything like that, again, those paintings, see if they're Home Depot, they have these little secures that can go ahead and secure things to the walls as well. All right, home fires, it's about getting out and staying out. And for most fires happen in the kitchen, so keep an eye on what you fry. For electrical, make sure that your wires are, that there are no exposed wires, and that they're 3 feet from the heat, particularly curtains or furniture. Smoking is very dangerous, so keep an eye on your cigarette butts and make sure that they're fully extinguished. and have that safe escape route. And if you see smoke, get low and go, because all of the smoke will rise, so your cleanest air will be at the bottom. And again, it's that meeting spot, have your evacuation assistance, and once you are out, stay out, call 911. If there is a wildfire, leave at the signs of any immediate danger, contact follow evacuation orders. If you are driving, keep the windows up and the vents closed, because you want to protect that air quality. You want to drive slow and cautiously, because you don't know if there are any embers on the road or where the fire is going to spread to. You want to keep your headlights on so that you can kind of see, have them on the low setting, kind of like in fog. But don't drive through any heavy smoke. That's turn around, because the fire is going to be in that direction. So turn around. If you are outdoors and you have no shelter to secure to, crouch low in a pond or a river so that the water can protect your skin and your temperature. Lay flat or cover your body with soil, because again, you're trying to create a protective layer between you and the flames. So that's what the soil does and keeps you cold. And you want to breathe again low to the ground, because that's where your cleanest air is going to be. And also signal 911 as much as you can. Having that whistle is great, and your phone as well. But you want to stay safe as best as you can. Okay, and then stay safe as best as you can, because afterwards you want to make sure that you're okay with the cleanup and that you aren't endangering yourself. So just stay as safe as you can, and listen to your directives from the fire department. And then how to recover, lean on that support network. That's what they're there for. That's why they're in your corner. Manage, document property damage, particularly for insurance. So having photos of everything, keeping all receipts, and only using trusted sources like your insurance company and like your support network, because there are scammers out there who will take advantage. But also the Red Cross emergency app has a lot of resources there that you can check out. Right there. And so I want to quickly go over COVID-19, because I do realize I'm running short on time. But for COVID-19, these are 5 actions to protect yourself and those around you. So one is cleaning your hands as often as possible, washing them for 20 seconds at least, and avoiding close contact with each other, staying home as much as possible, maintaining that same 6 feet social distance. Covering your mouth with a face cover that covers both your nose and those around your mouth, and making sure if you do need to take off your mask, you take it back from the ears first. And then cover your sneeze. I recommend the upper shoulder area, because that helps contain the germs as much as possible. And for those who use their elbow, in COVID, we've been, instead of high-fiving or like fist bumping, we've been tapping elbows. But if you do that, then all of your germs are then on your shoulder, and then your shoulder tapping. And that might be spreading it more. So I recommend the upper shoulder armpit area. It also is a good free deodorant check as well. But then also cleaning and disinfecting surfaces as frequently as possible with Clorox, with wipes that are over like 60% alcohol, I think is what we want. But we are all feeling different levels of stress right now. So try and be as patient as you can with yourself and with those around you. And try and relax as much as possible. And that's a body, mind, spirit. Try and relax as much as possible. Keep taking a deep breath when you can, when you need to. Strengthening social ties. So doing those phone calls, those video chats, texts, social media, just to try and stay as connected as much as you possibly can. And leaning on your personal strengths and your personal your own strength, because you can get through this and you are strong. So keep reminding yourself of that. And also continue any sort of religious or spiritual practices that give you that strength as well. Those are great sources to have. And also using creditable information from the Department of Public Health, from CDC, from City of LA, LA County. So I'm making sure that they're trusted sources. And to wrap up, we have our home fire campaign throughout the LA region, which is one-on-one home fire safety workshops, which are designed to help provide you with these similar resources and create a customized plan for yourself so that you can stay safe during a home fire. Helps you understand your hazards, make an escape plan, and general preparedness tips, and it only takes 20 minutes. So if you're interested in those, the link is on the screen and I can go ahead and give you more information about that. But it's a really great workshop. But thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate, again, you taking the time to do this. And for more information, there's the preparedness email on there, but also there's redcross.org as well for more information. But thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And again, if you have any questions, please let us know or stop by our booth at the end, and then we're happy to answer any of them. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Cindy. Great presentation. Again, just to reiterate, if you have additional questions, they will be available in their virtual booth. You have just about 10 minutes before the show is over, so head on over there and get your questions answered. And we will be doing closing remarks at 4:55. So be sure to check the main stage for that. So thank you, Cindy. We are so appreciative of you, and you enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you, and stay safe, everyone. Have a great weekend, and don't forget to hydrate.
Absolutely. Very important. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.